Hello friends, welcome to CS Tunes. In our previous video, we have introduced you to the Turing machine. In this video, we are going to discuss about the operations of the Turing machine and mathematical definition of a Turing machine. In case you haven't watched our previous video, we have provided the link of the same in our description section below. Now, let's directly come to the description of the operations of a Turing machine. So a finite control takes into consideration two things. First is the input symbol and the current state. So there are two things that are required, the input symbol and the current state of the Turing machine. And based on this, there are three operations that are performed. The first operation is update the symbol of the cell. So we are going to update the symbol into our input tape. Then the second is change of state. The state of the Turing machine will be changed. That means we will move to a next state. And the third operation that is performed is to decide that in which direction our read-write head will move. Whether it will move into the right direction or it will move to the left direction, or it can be a case that the read-write head will not move in any direction and it remains static on the current cell of the tape. So let's see what we are talking about here. So we can see over here in the diagram that we had discussed in our previous video, from the finite control we get the state and from the infinite tape we get the input symbol. So depending upon the state and the input symbol, the next state is defined. That means we can determine that what will be the next state in our finite control. Second thing, the symbol in the input tape will be replaced by any other symbol that is defined. And the third thing is, it is also decided that in which direction our read-write head will move, whether it will move to the left direction or it will move to the right direction. And one more case, the read-write head will move nowhere. It will remain on the same cell where it is currently present. Now, these operations has to be defined mathematically. So first of all, let's define the mathematical definition of the Turing machine, and then we are going to discuss the mathematical definition of the operations on the Turing machine on the basis of the delta, that is our transition function. So before discussing the transition function, let's see what is the mathematical definition of a Turing machine. So mathematically, a Turing machine can be represented using 6 symbols. So some of the symbols of the Turing machine are same as of the push-down automata, as you have seen in the case of the push-down automata in our previous videos. But some symbols are different. So we are going to discuss each and every symbol one by one in this video also. So a Turing machine TM is represented using these 6 symbols. The first symbol, that is our Q, is a non-empty finite set of states. That means all the states are present in the non-empty finite set capital Q. Then the next symbol is our summation. Summation is a non-empty finite set of input symbols. So whatever the input we are going to provide is represented using a summation. Then the third tuple is gamma. Gamma is a set of tape symbols and it includes a blank symbol hash. So whatever the symbols are present in our infinite tape, those are represented in the set gamma, and there is one more symbol that is a blank symbol and is represented using a hash. So as we had discussed in our previous video, that hash tells us about the ending of the string in our infinite tape. Now, the next tuple is our Q0. So Q0 is our initial state and it belongs to the set of states that is represented by a capital Q. Now, H So H belongs to capital Q. That means it is also a state, but it is a spatial kind of a state that is known as a halt state. So whenever our machine stops any further activity, then we are on the halt state. So whenever a Turing machine halts or it stops from further activity, that state is known as a halt state and is represented using a small h. Now the next thing is our delta. That is the most important thing. The transition function. It tells us the different types of transition, that how we are going to move further in our Turing machine. So the three operations which we have discussed above are the representation of this delta only. So these three operations are for the representation of delta that we will discuss further. Now let's define the delta. Delta is a transition function, or it is a transition relation that maps Q into gamma. That means Q is the set of states and gamma is the set of tape symbols. So whatever the input symbols or the tape symbols are present in our Turing machine, that is represented by a gamma. So the state is considered and the tape symbol is considered, and it gives us a new state from the set of state Q. So capital Q over here represents the states. So it can be a new state or it can be a same state. Into gamma, that means a symbol from the gamma only, from the tape only is taken. Into LRN. So L represents the left movement of the tape, R represents the right movement of the tape, and N represents that the tape doesn't move. That is, the tape head continues scanning the same cell. So from the transition function, it is clear that currently we are on some state from the set of state capital Q, and we are reading an input symbol from the set of the symbols present in our tape that is represented by a gamma. Then we will move either to a new state or we will move to the same state. That means we remain to the same state or we are moving to a new state, that is represented by the set of states and is represented using a capital Q. And the symbol on the tape will be replaced by the new symbol that is provided by the set gamma itself. And then we will decide that what is the direction of movement of our head will be. So the head will move in the left direction if we choose L. It moves in the right direction if we choose R, and it will not move in any of the direction and remains on the same cell of the tape if we choose N from this particular set. Now, over here you can see in the mathematical definition we have defined gamma as the union of summation and hash. That means it will consist of all the input symbols that are present in our summation plus the hash symbol that determines the end of the string. So gamma consists of all the input symbols and a hash. Now, let's define the transitions mathematically. So the operations which we have discussed over here, now we are going to define them mathematically, that how the delta can be defined for a Turing machine. So there are three cases we have considered for each movement of the head: the left movement, right movement, and do nothing. That means don't move in either left or right direction. So for the transitions, let's define the value Q and C. So we say that Q belongs to capital Q. That means Q is some state, and C belongs to summation. That means C is our input symbol. So our delta can be represented in this way: delta Q comma C. So Q is the state on which we are currently present. C is the input symbol. So when we are on the state Q and we are reading the symbol C, then we will move to a new state Q1. And the symbol C in our input tape or in our infinite tape will be replaced by a symbol B. And the movement of direction is right. That means the head will move in the right adjacent cell of our infinite tape. So over here you can see that the delta is represented using this only. First, the Q naught, that is our state Q, is considered. Then we have considered an input symbol C from gamma. And then when we are moving to Q1, that is our new state, and gamma is our B, that is we are changing the value of C by B, and the direction of the movement of the head is taken to be R, that is our right direction. So this is same. It is the generic definition, and over here we have defined it with the help of an example. Similarly, if we are on the current state Q and the input symbol is C, then we can move to a state Q1 and the input symbol C that is present on the infinite tape will be replaced by a symbol B, and the direction of movement of our head will be left. That means the head will move to the left adjacent cell. Left adjacent cell means when we are currently present on any of the cells, so it will be moving on the left adjacent cell of the cell on which we are currently present. Now, the third operation that can be performed is for doing nothing, for not moving in the left direction or not moving in the right direction. So over here currently we are on the state Q and we are reading an input symbol C from the infinite tape. Then we are moving to a new state Q1 and the symbol on the infinite tape is replaced by a new symbol B. That means C is replaced by a B. And the tape will not, the head will not move in any of the directions. That means the head is static on the current cell. So N represents that it is neither moving to the left direction nor moving to the right direction. So these are the operations that can be performed on the Turing machine. And in this video, we have learned that how can we define a Turing machine mathematically using 6 tuples. In our next video, we are going to see that for a given language, how can we design a Turing machine. So that's all about this video. Thanks for watching our video. Be tuned to our channel in order to watch further videos for the examples of Turing machines and more videos like this. If you like our channel, if you like our videos, please like and subscribe our channel CS Tunes. And in case of any queries, leave a comment in the comment section below. Thank you.